Welcome back to the FanTEAsy podcast, where two besties spill all the delicious tea on the books we read. I'm Callie, and my bestie is Montana.
We are so excited / super emotional to be here for our last episode in our deep dive in Fourth Wing. So episode 8, if you've stuck around with us this long, thank you so much. As you know, we divided the book into 8 sections where we have been diving into the dragons, the world building, the character signets, and even some fan theories. So please take note and prepare for the last time in the Fourth Wing segment to enter Basgiath War College.
First off, this is a full deep dive and breakdown of Fourth Wing. If you have not read all of the book, oh my god, don't listen to this episode. Please go finish it, because this is everything. So if you've already gotten the spoilers, you don't want to hear these ones. We will be discussing all of the Empyrean series in each episode, even if we're just covering a few chapters. This is not a scripted episode, so we will definitely say things that just pop into our brain that don't necessarily happen in those selected chapters. So we say this just because we are human, and sometimes our mouths work faster than our brains. Things will come out, and we just really, really don't want to spoil it, especially these end chapters. They are so good, so heartbreakingly delicious.
So good. And with not wanting to spoil the journey, please also take note that we are adults, and especially with these last few chapters, there's violence, there's killing and weapons, and we swear a lot. And also, we are drinking in this episode, so we are over 21. Thank you for legal purposes.
But we are reading already.
Episode R.
Yes.
And if you've been following along with us and you enjoy our content, please, if you would ever be so kind, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, follow along on our Instagram and our TikTok, anything to help us continue to grow on this journey.
One last time. Are you ready for it?
One last time until we get to Iron Flame.
Yeah. I don't know. We might have a whole new layout theme for Iron Flame, but Fourth Wing
we very well might.
So good. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's the last episode, and we have our little drinks. What did I call this?
Yes.
Dragon's blood? No, I called it the venom.
The
venom.
Yeah,
that's right. Which is
that was just chef's kiss. When I saw that, I was like, whew, love.
The red. I was like, oh, it's burning.
Yes. Yes, and then
So
I made
excited.
the golden one, nice and sparkly for Andarna. So, cheers to our 8 episodes on Fourth Wing.
Cheers!
Yay!
I can't believe it. And literally, I feel like these two drinks, the themes of them is so on theme for these chapters. Key
100%.
moments here. Key moments.
Yeah.
So good. And we did that perfectly. I mean, planned, not planned.
Okay. Well, before we do this, what era are you in?
Ooh. Speak now. Or 1989. I was going to say 1989, but then yeah.
Why are we twins? Because I was going to say 1989 with a hint of Speak Now.
With a hint of Speak Now. And I think it's just that little moment we just had. That was, I'm just all in my feels. These chapters.
Catch us crying.
You probably might happen in this episode. I don't know if it's hormones catching me at this time of the month, or the chapters, or this being a full circle of everything. We're finishing Fourth Wing, and that feels such a huge feat, and oh my gosh, this has been so fun.
So I know we've been saving it until the very last episode of Fourth Wing, but we've mentioned it kind of here and there that there's one specific Taylor Swift lyric from Speak Now that has just
if you don't know it,
us.
If you know, you know. You have to know it. It's just so
I feel like you already know. You have to know.
You have to know it.
Funny story before we even say it is we when we were planning our Fourth Wing content and everything before we've ever started filming any of this, we were like, oh, we have to do that, but we'll save it for the last episode. And then the 1 year mark video came out for Fourth Wing and they used that song and we were like,
Yeah, they did.
oh,
We're not that
we're
clever.
all on the same wavelength.
It's really, especially as a Swiftie, like, I'm not, like, by all means, like, the most biggest Taylor Swift fan. Like, people that pick up on the clues and hints so far in advance, I'm like, good for you, because that went
Not,
so far above
yeah,
my
couldn't be
head.
me.
No, I don't pay that close of attention. However, if you are a Swiftie, even
Love
in the
her.
slightest, I feel like this was a pretty heavy, like, you just knew. This is a heavy
Yeah,
hint.
it,
It just
we've
fits
talked about
perfectly.
it enough that you
Hmm.
probably just know. So,
You just
Callie,
know.
do you want to say it?
I say the first part, you say the last part?
Okay.
I've had the time of my life.
Fighting dragons with you.
Ah! And it feels so full circle.
Oh,
I
it
100%,
does.
yeah. I would fight dragons with you. Valkyrie
Absolutely.
training, and now Writer's Quadrant. We
Yeah.
would own it. Hmm. Killing it.
We're
Just
Valkyrie
killing it.
training currently, so
Yes, we are. If anyone wants in on it.
let us know. You can do the Valkyrie Rumiel challenge with us. And our bestie Chelsea, her ad is Honey, I bought another book. So clever. She's doing it too. So yeah, anyone wants to do the 30-day challenge, let us know. You can do it with
Let us
us.
know. Oh my gosh.
Shall we?
Yep.
All right, what is our chapter summary for chapter 33?
Chapter 33. Basgiath is under attack. Violet and Zayden join all the other riders into formation and await the incoming orders from Panchek. But when Violet, Rhiannon, Liam, and the rest of Fourth Wing are lined up, Zayden lets Violet in on a little secret. It was all a part of the next war game. What? Wing loaders and squad leaders are given their orders, and all Violet can think about is being away from Zayden for more than a few days. On the flight field, Zayden takes things into his own hands and orders Violet, along with Liam and Imogen, to go with him to his post to establish his headquarters. When an argument breaks out between Zayden and Dane, Violet is forced to make a decision between the two. But when they are both walking away from her, she begins to realize just how much her life is about to change. Dun, dun, dun!
I can't. I just
These
can't.
summaries were like such a bummer to write for these chapters because nothing was funny. Nothing was like, oh, I can crack a joke. Like, no,
No.
no, I was not having a good
No.
time. Like, this is just,
We are not living, laughing, and loving.
no. I was so stressed the whole time. And it's rereading, especially once we get to later chapters, there were things that obviously key moments that you know, but the
Hmm.
details in those moments, I'll get to it later, but that's kind of where I was like, oh God. And then
I
tears.
know.
All the tears.
So many tears. And truly, are you besties if you don't send a selfie of you just bawling your eyes out to a book? Because we
We
did
do.
that with just this time finishing these chapters yesterday. And the first time we read this book, also, like, if you scroll
Mm-hmm.
back through our text, there are pictures of us just crying about books.
Just bawling. Oh, like 90% of the pictures we send are us crying. Like, this book just ripped my heart out. Look at me cry.
It's crying over
Why are
books
we
or
sharing?
memes.
Or memes. Lots of memes. Oh my gosh.
Or lots of gifts because we send each other a lot of gifts.
So many stupid ones. Half of the
It's
conversation is
okay,
in GIF. Like,
as it
the,
should
the
be.
little innuendos. Yeah. I feel like that's what makes you best friends. Like, if you're not sending those,
Yeah,
you're not really friends.
no, no, not even.
No.
I just, I cannot. With the very beginning of this chapter, so we all know what Zayden and Violet were doing.
Hmm. Mhm.
But, they're trying to hurry. They're trying to get dressed. They're trying to get out. They're grabbing weapons because they're like, oh my gosh, we're under attack. And Zayden's over here giving her his flight jacket. And he literally says, you shouldn't be out in formation too long. I can't stand the thought of you being cold.
Like, what a man.
Okay.
What a
Like,
man.
thank you.
He's so
We have Zayden.
sweet. That's boyfriend
We
status.
Oh, and all I can think now is we have Zayden like, I can't stand the thought of you being cold. Here's my third year wing leader flight jacket. But then you go to that 70s show, Jackie's like, I'm cold. And Michael Kelso's like, damn, Jackie, I can't control the weather.
Exactly.
Two different
They
type
are
of
not
men,
the
people.
same. They are not the same. Everybody needs a Zayden. Kelso, I mean, we would take a Kelso too,
We
but
love Kelso, but
we do. He's more like Riddick, though, in this book. Like,
yeah.
that's the same wavelength.
100%. Riddick
Mm.
might be a little more gentleman.
Mm.
Maybe.
Well,
If he
to
really likes you.
not in Riddick's defense at all, he says, this had better be good because I was finally taking my shot with that gorgeous brunette healer.
I
Like, you're trying to
died.
defend him, and he's not.
We
Just
love
digging
Riddick.
his
We
hole.
stand Riddick.
We love
Five
Riddick.
ever, okay?
5 ever, always, for sure. He's the best, but
Yes.
he's just
Always
out
and
here trying to
forever.
get laid, and damn it, Formation was called.
Well, you know what? Riddick can get it anytime. He's great. I'm sure he's got ladies falling for him just when he cracks a joke.
He's great. I don't know. If you were in their scenario, if you're Violet and Zayden, and you're like getting down and dirty, and someone is pounding on your door, though, like they throughout this, they keep still just like having those thoughts of, well, we could be doing this. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
you
Like,
got
really?
called out on formation and shit's about to go down and you don't even know what's happening and you're still like undressing them with your eyes. What?
Like, no. You think the nerves and the fear and the stress would have taken over by this point, like, oh shit, we're under attack.
No.
It
Yeah.
literally, Violet's like, how many people are gonna die? What is going on? Did our wards fall? I'm not ready for this. And then she's like, oh, but we were going for round,
But
what, 6 or 7?
anyway. Well, and they're having a casual
Okay.
conversation, her and Rhiannon. Rhiannon
Mhm.
cleverly notices the flight jacket immediately and is like, where'd you get that? And she's like, no, this is mine. And she's like, uh-huh, with the wings and the third 3 stars. Are you sure? Like,
Like, yeah.
calling a sister out immediately. But then she's
Three
like telling
stars,
her
fourth
details,
wing leader.
telling her
Right?
details. Like, yeah, I broke his window. Honey, again, you're under attack. You don't even know what's happening right now. And you're just casually over here talking about your sex life. I mean, I guess it just plays true to like how old they are,
Yeah.
like priorities, right? But again, Violet knows the severity of all of this. She was raised a scribe. She knows that, shit could happen at
Yeah.
any time. For it to happen within the walls is like, and even inside the wards is intense. Doesn't mean it can't happen,
Yeah.
obviously. But she's like, oh, beep, beep, beep. I broke his window.
Well, even before they get to formation, her and Zayden are getting dressed. They're getting ready to, separate here. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something that I noted because it's a conversation we had in the last episode. But right before they split apart, and she's like, "Oh, no one notices me leaving the wing leader's room because it's chaos." But Zayden is
Mm-hmm.
talking to her, and he says, "Wanting you will be the death of me. Let's go." And we noticed that so many times in the last couple chapters too, where he keeps saying, "You're going to be the death of me." And you made that comment, and now I'm like, Zayden, stop saying that.
I know. I think it's
Rebecca,
brought up
rewrite the
again
book.
later on too. In a later chapter
Mm-hmm.
today. It's brought up so many times, and I'm like, Rebecca, if you were telling us
Why?
from book one, if you were telling us from book one that by book five, like,
I won't be okay.
is this the whole thing? Or the theories of, how Jasenia is the one later on?
Writing them
Or,
because everyone's dead.
yes, I think I would throw the books. You
Gently
made
because we
me
don't want to hurt them, but
wait, and read these in the order in which they released, which is so much time. Like, obviously, we
so
got the
much
first two
time.
pretty close together, but now we are just waiting and anticipating Onyx Storm, and then that's only book three. Ugh.
We
Why?
still
Why
have
did
like
we
3
even?
years of books.
Yeah, why did we do this? Why did we even start reading these stupid books? Because now we just have to wait and anticipate and be in pain for years to come. I would do it again.
Worth it.
Sign me up. Why do we do this? I don't know. It's so good. Oh God. The
Well,
pain, the
and
pain I
truly,
feel.
the people who I do know a handful of people who are like, no, I haven't read them. I want to wait till it's a complete series. Like,
Hmm.
but how do you? It's so popular. How do you avoid seeing any spoilers? People are always talking about Xaden, and at first you're supposed to hate Xaden, so it's like,
Hmm.
how do you avoid that? Especially with 5 books, it's going to be all over the internet. So, I'm curious to ask someone who didn't read them until all 5 books are out and see kind of what they thought.
That is currently my life with Throne of Glass. And it is a complete
I mean, that was
series.
mine too when I read Throne of Glass. Yeah,
And just because it is such a popular series, all of my Instagram is Throne of Glass. And
yeah,
to the point of like, I guess in their defense, when I see things, if I don't read what it says or if it's not blatantly obvious who the character is or
it
anything
doesn't
like
make
that, like
sense.
it doesn't make sense to me. It's so out of place. I feel
Yeah.
like that picture I sent you the other day of the skinwalkers, I feel like I've seen
Hmm.
that or something similar prior to when I sent it to you. But until I met those creatures, like it made no sense to me. So it's something that
Right.
I guess I could kind of see, but once you start, it's
Yeah, and
harder
you're
to
like,
avoid. Yeah, because now I know some of the
mhm,
characters. And so if I see, I'm like, swipe so fast because I don't want to see any
yeah,
spoilers further than what I've already seen, which is so hard. But I guess to their defense, I
yeah.
guess I could see it. But I
I mean,
I'm
that's
like,
me with Crescent City right now. I'm like, oh
but
my
I'm the
gosh.
type of person like if it's all the rage, like I want to be a part of it. I want to know what everyone's talking about. So I can't relate. I'm like, who is that? What do you mean? What's the issue? Like everyone being like, oh, there's a huge cliffhanger after, an Iron Flame. Like, don't you want to know?
Hmm.
Even if it's a cliffhanger and you're like, oh, I hate cliffhangers. Like, don't you want to know though? Because I'm like, I need to know right now.
I just want to read it and experience it for the first time, always, and just be in pure shock.
Yeah. Like, tell me. I
I
need to read it
can't.
right now. Need to read it right now. Anywho, continuing through chapter 33.
Well, yeah, Zayden is finally like, he realizes what's going on. He's looking tense, and he speaks to Violet with their mind speaking. He's like, fucking war games. And you're like,
Huh?
you're joking, right? Like, you made us all get riled up in the middle of the night thinking we're gonna die. And it's actually war games, which honestly is so genius to have a scenario set up like that because you want your people prepared. But that still sucks.
No, the reaction is, you're kidding me. We got hauled out of bed for war games? Hauled out of
Like,
bed
why?
again. We're just back to that. Oh my gosh.
And like someone coming in and just hearing that one line, you would think it's such an innocent thing. Like, okay, it happened in the middle of the night, you're getting out of
Yeah.
bed, you're rushing. But no, her connotation is like, we were in the middle of some important business.
I was having an experience with the Shadow Daddy that needed to be finished.
5 times. 5 times over.
At least. Just keeping tally marks on the headboard.
Cassian's headboard.
Oh. I get it. I get
Anyway.
it. You want your squads, everyone to be prepared. But
Yeah.
literally to do it in this manner and then make it just about war games and I don't know. Moving forward,
Yeah.
it's obviously not just, and so it's like frustrating. But
Yeah.
and then fucking Dane, and then there's Dane, and then there's Dane
I, but you know what? Rhiannon is a girl's girl for this.
coming in clutch. She did, girl's
Because,
girl.
Dane walks up to the squad. As we know, Violet is wearing Zayden's flight jacket still, and Dane walks up, so Rhiannon's like, oh, hey! And like
Hey
draping
girl,
her arm over Violet so no
hey
one
girl,
can see his insignias on his jacket. I'm like, you know what? Go off, Riri. We love
girl's
you.
girl, girl's girl.
Always. Through and
She's the
through.
best.
God, and then Dane's just like, no, it's not a good morning. Okay, fuck you then. Sorry. We also get Dane's dad.
Yep, Colonel Ados, Colonel Dickbag. What?
Colonel Crybaby?
Colonel Crybaby? I was gonna say Colonel Asshole because it starts with an A, but that
uh,
doesn't fit as well with Crybaby Dane.
TMFCA?
That gives me a
Too
headache.
much fucking Colonel Ados.
Oh my god. Too much.
In Iron Flame, it's consistently talked about dragons having bad breath, and that's always like who has yeah, and like their riders are the ones that are like turning venom.
Mm-hmm.
And there's multiple comments throughout the whole book about that, and there's a one specific area where Violet's like, Dane needs to get Cath's teeth checked because his breath stinks. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, 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 whoa. And then the whole theory that
Whoa, whoa,
his dad
whoa.
is Venom,
Well, and it
him and
says
Panchecker Venom.
there's a bone or something in his teeth, but the something
Mm-hmm.
is italicized. And as we know, Rebecca does not do italices for no reason. And
No.
I don't know.
I
Oh, see, I'm so excited to move into Iron Flame for this reason because there are so many theories that we can
Me
go
too.
over. It's gonna be
That we
so
don't have
good
answers to.
that we literally don't know yet. Well, even from this book, there's probably things in here that will play out in the long run, but for the most part, you move into Iron Flame and things change so much.
Yeah. Things do change quite a bit. But, Dane's dad is out here. He gives this very elaborate speech. The wards have fallen. Civilians and infantry are dead. This is up to you. Like, just very melodramatic. I mean, it could be
So
real, but it's. I feel like by that point, they probably would have already been notified. And he's talking about how villages are under siege from Griffin riders, but he knows the truth.
mm-hmm.
So like why are we really just I just want to know like why are we pinning this on the Griffins? I need answers. Rebecca, I need answers.
I need answers. I don't know. I guess that is a good question because, but even to this point right here, for what is to come in the next chapter,
Mhm.
and who he is in command,
Yeah.
standing there in front of all of these kids and literally sending them to the post they get sent to.
To
It's
yeah.
to death. Like,
Yeah.
I for the whole like justice system of like take an eye, give an eye kind of thing, it doesn't really make sense in my mind why, because Zayden has already proved that he's and all the children of the marked ones like have given their lives to Navarre. So why is it
Yeah.
still like being tested time and time again and not
For their
just like
parents' actions, not even their own.
right, right. And so it's just frustrating that it still just keeps going layer by layer of how deep
Mm-hmm.
the corruption is.
Truly.
I mean, the government, really.
Honestly. And we do have a very uh, small hint of foreshadow that we get here too. So,
Hmm.
he's still just laying it out there, telling them, everyone's gonna like get their outpost, blah blah blah, whatever. And it
Hmm.
says right here, he turns to each wing leader, giving out orders, but glances in our direction, no doubt looking for Dane before he turns to Zayden. Something about the way his smile slips for a heartbeat makes the hair rise on the back of my neck. And knowing what we know now, we're like, you just looked over at this squad, at your son who has been giving you this information. We're going to find this out very soon anyway.
Hmm.
But you are sending them to die, and you just don't
Yeah,
give a shit. The biggest you can do is just kind of like a falter in your
yeah.
smile. Bullshit.
Which is even almost worse. Like, you're not even acknowledging
Yeah.
them as people. And then as children, really. Like, they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're, yeah, quite literally sending them to their death in the next chapter. And it just makes me kind of sick. And then, obviously going
Man,
down
I know
into,
Zayden's 23, but I was not I mean, we had kids by 23, but I was not
right?
emotionally mature enough to go to war at 23.
No. Well, and just in general, not
Yeah.
not even the fact that they're just going to war, say with griffins and flyers, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
what it is. And
Right.
for them to know that and know how powerful the venom and the wyvern are, and to send them
Yeah.
there, that's fucked.
It's so fucked. Uh,
Which all leads back to TMD, because he's really the root of this problem.
TMFD, bitches.
TMFD. Ugh.
I can't. I
This
just
is
can't. And, gosh, they're just like, oh, what do you think we'll do? It's 5 days. That's a long time. Like, I wonder if we're going to have to, like, do more exercises where we get the egg. And Zayden just jumps into Violet's mind and he's like, wear every single dagger you own. Because Zayden knows. He knows there's
hmm.
trouble.
Hmm.
And Violet's like, whoa, wait, what? It's just war games.
Hmm.
And,
What do you mean? What's the problem? No big
he's
deal.
being short, he's being curt. Well, it literally says a buzz of excitement is in the crowd. And then Rhiannon's like, oh, we're going to win. And that's what everyone's focused on. But you just have this other sense that, like, Zayden knows something's wrong. Liam is even, it says, he's unusually tense. So, like, the marked ones know something's
Hmm.
going on. But
Hmm.
everyone else is just like, oh, yay, war games.
Yep. Just more fun to be had. More accolades that we're about to collect because we're going to win. And
Yeah.
they just
Like,
wouldn't. I mean,
Rhiannon's even
this.
talking about, like, become squad leader next year and all of that. And, like,
Uh-huh.
that's what they're thinking about. That's what she should be thinking about, not what does this actually mean?
Well, the part right after that really, you get it. You'll get it. I tell her. Then turn toward Liam as we approach our section. What about you? Want to distinguish yourself with
Hmm.
glory so you can rise to squad leader. He's a shoe-in with his hand-to-hand skills and stellar marks in class. And it's little things like that
Yeah, I know.
that even rereading, I was like, well, obviously rereading because now I know, but I'm like,
Yeah.
why do you keep having to do this to my poor little heart?
I can't take it anymore.
I can't take it. I'm fine.
But I'll continue to do it again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I just, oh, that was probably loud. It just makes me sad because we grow so fond of all these characters and things happen or a series end and we're just like, oh, but like, what are they doing? Do
We
they miss
still
me like I
have
miss them?
3 books to go. Like, who else is she going to
Yes,
take
we
from
do.
us? Who else is she going to take from us? Like, everyone's so worried about Xaden, but like, what about Riddick? What about Sawyer? What about
Sawyer.
Rhiannon?
In Iron Flame, the
Please don't.
one line that like just is stuck in my brain, it's like, when Sawyer has his leg taken, and it's like, you already took Liam, you may not have Sawyer
Yeah.
too. I bawled.
Yep.
I
Yep.
bawled like, nope. Even now, I'm like, no. And she
No.
has to have a second signet that brings our Liam back.
She really does. She really, really does because I don't know. I
It's a
fought for a
fictional
lot
death I will
of
never recover
fictional
from.
deaths that really just, but this one, I don't know, hits me differently. And I'm not okay with it. Okay?
But there's also still like the ways it could be written. The fact that the 3 books aren't written and we are still waiting on a second signet and there's resurrection and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
like, what if? But then I'm like moving into a different series. I'm like, Fred Weasley. I don't have any hope he'll
Nah.
ever come back.
Mm, no, he's fine. It's always Fred and George.
he
They're fine.
didn't.
He
He
didn't
didn't
die.
die.
He didn't die.
Anyway.
And I'm like,
Oh, but we have
Snape,
sweet.
not Snape.
Oh my gosh. And Alan.
Oh, don't bring that up.
I
Oh.
I nope. No.
Okay, we
No.
can't. I'm like really not emotionally stable enough for this conversation. Robbie
We need to move on.
Coltrane.
Yeah, nope. Nope. I wasn't gonna say
See,
it.
like we can go this whole road. It goes on and on
Nope.
and on of sad. No, moving on. Moving on. This
Moving on.
I thought this part was interesting because they get up to the flight field and who is there? Obviously Taryn, but also Andarna. And why is she there?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
They're
eerie, interesting,
a 5-day flight.
a long, long way for her tiny little baby body.
But I
And
do
and it
love this part.
says, uh, my egotistical dragon is already saddled with Andarna under his wing. Shit, they're going to force Andarna to keep up with us. But who is they?
Yeah, like who is there going to? Like who is
Yeah,
enforcing
who's
this?
the dragons? I think not. Like who?
No, because
I mean,
dragons will protect
dragons
their
don't listen to
babies.
humans, though. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But I do love that, he's got his saddle on, and we find out that Xaden took it another step farther and made sweet baby Andarna a little harness so she can clip on to Tarn as they're flying in case she gets too tired.
Oh,
And I
he's like
just love
turning
that,
his
like
little
how
baby.
it's a baby
Like
Bjorn.
that's what I think of, and I think of The Hangover, and he has like baby Carlos.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Like yeah. So now we need someone who's like good at drawing to draw Tarn with baby and Darna strapped to him. That'd be great. And a baby Bjorn,
Oh,
please. specifically.
There's definitely fan art. I've seen it, but with what we're picturing, we need to commission someone for
Yeah.
this.
I mean, like the funny version, not the serious one.
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
Sunglasses and all.
mm-hmm.
Ugh. But we're like you said, we're on the flight field. Taryn is snapping at Kath, even though Kath, Dane being squad leader, should be in front of him. He's like, hell no, I lead this brigade. And Dane is with Violet and his squad, and Zayden walks over and Dane literally says, how can I help you? And it says he bites it out. Like, really? The
Mm-hmm.
disrespect to your fucking wing leader right now when he just walked up,
TMFD. TMFD.
uncalled for. Uncalled for. Also, he's like, how the fuck? Dane is so stupid. Let's just put that out there right now. He is so oblivious because Violet's like, relax. He just wants to say goodbye. And Dane's like, okay. But then it's like the next page, then he's like, you and him?
Like, right.
But you
Right.
didn't when he just wants to walk over and say goodbye to her? You
To
can't put
Violet,
those
of all
pieces
people who
together?
he like hates, right? Like, yeah, he's stupid. He's literally so stupid. But the retort back is so funny because Zayden's just like, yeah, if you're saying goodbye, it's to him. Like, no, you're coming
Yeah.
with me. And if that isn't like touch her and die energy, like, no, she's with me. Back off. Like,
Mm-hmm. And we love it.
we loved it. Uh-huh.
And Dane literally has the audacity. Where he finds his audacity, I don't know, because the fuck you are. Like,
Colonel Crybaby. That's where he gets
that's where
it.
he got his audacity from his dad. But Zayden, he does make a good point because not only is he taking Violet, but he's also taking Liam and Imogen. And Dane's only
Smart choice.
arguing about Violet, he's like, she's a
Mm-hmm.
first year, you're going beyond the wards, she's not going to be safe. And he's like, you're not arguing about Liam. Liam's also a first year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
favoritism, much Dane?
Mm-hmm. Dane argues
I just,
Liam is the best cadet among the first years, even with you assigning him guard duty over Violet.
like, that's your retort? Yeah, we know he's the
It's just
best.
so gross.
You're not worried about his safety, first of all, and you really had to put out guard duty? Come on.
Zeta just goes, and Sorengale wields lightning. What now, bitch? It's like a mic drop.
Like, uh.
Uh,
But even,
mm-mm.
what? Violet's kind of stupid sometimes too, because she's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's why he wants me. Because I wield lightning. Yep. Okay, that's the only reason.
Makes sense. Totally makes
Sh-
sense.
Bitch, please.
It's just the gross behavior of riders are known to die during war games, and she's safer with me. I'm sorry, what, Dane?
No, she's
Did you
not.
just say that? Did you literally just say that? That came out of your mouth.
She's
Anything could
safer with
happen.
me because I can touch someone and see their memories. I'm a second year. I'm such a protector against Mr. Giant third year wing leader Shadow Daddy.
Shadow Daddy. And oh my god, if his segment in these chapters does not make a lady horny, I don't know what does, because he like lassos shit out the sky. I mean, what? But yes, let me read your memories. That's so cool.
Let me touch your face and read your memories.
Oh, great. Let me just casually
TMFD.
caress it. Oh, God, it's like this nasty behavior. Like, go away.
Well, and he
Oh.
even is like, he even's like, oh, you're just doing this to get revenge on her mother. Really?
Mm.
Really? What a low fucking blow.
Yep.
And Dane is just so fucking oblivious. But Zayden just gives it right back to him, and I love it so much.
The little tiff between them. It sounds like two little schoolgirls bickering. Little tiff. But I think it's like Dane just needs to shut the fuck up. Xaden is rightfully right here, obviously,
Yeah.
always. But then for Violet to just like come in and reach out to Xaden and be like, stop. Like the calm to the
I'm
storm.
going with
Stop.
you.
I will go with you if that's what you want. It's that simple. Like, and then it clicks. And then Dayton clicks. Like, oh my
No fucking
God.
way.
Like, how did it take you that
Him?
long?
You and him? Really? Really? This is, yeah. He's like, I know people talk, but like, really?
Talk.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like, why are you so
Yep.
surprised? And Violet's like, uh-huh. And Zayden's like, oh no, I'm
It's the
devastated.
begging. It's, oh no,
I
I'm devastated.
know.
It's the begging for me that's like really cringy. Don't
Yeah.
go, Violet,
Yep.
please. He's going to get you killed. Please stop talking.
If
No.
he's what you choose, then I guess that has to be enough for me, doesn't it? And then he whispers, I'll miss you, Violet. Like, okay. Okay. What the fuck did you do, Dane?
Yep. Yep. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. Like she's
Like, you
already
have no
gone.
problem sending the Mark
Like
ones
this isn't just
to
a war
die.
games. Like what did you just do? What did you just do? You know full well you are the fucking worst ever. Nope.
I can't. I
Then
cannot.
after that, it's like even more gruesome, eerie. Gruesome is not the word. Eerie. I'll miss you, Violet. And
Mhm.
then at the end, I've chosen to follow. Where am I reading? I can't help but note both of the
The last one.
important men in my men are walking away from me right now in opposite directions. And given the one I've chosen to follow, my life is about to change forever. And if you go one route, the way Dane is thinking, well, yeah, she's supposed to be dead. And if you
Yeah.
go the route that actually happens, now we hate Dane for fucking ever.
But what a way to end chapter 33. Like, she's just having this big realization and she can't do anything about it. It's time to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Before I overthink it, just what's our 34 summary?
Chapter 34. Xaden and Violet take flight on their dragons, heading to Athben. After riding for some time, the dragons decide to break for some water. While on the ground, Xaden and Violet have a moment to regroup. Amidst their flirtation and muscle rubs, something, or should I say someone, interrupts them. When Xaden throws shadows to conceal Violet, she is angered by the gesture until he drops them to reveal Griffin Riders. Dun dun dun!
Just
It's not as intense this time.
no, but if we didn't know and we're just like, there's griffins? What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can't. They're through the wards, they're almost to the outpost, and Violet's telling Tarn, it's like, it feels different. And he tells her, without the wards, magic is wilder here. It's easier for dragons to communicate within the wards. The wing leader will have to take that into account when commanding his wing from his outpost. So I thought that was really interesting that he's letting her in on that information, but also like probably telling her that in case she needs to tell that to Xaden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that noted too. And I was like,
Mm-hmm. It's as they're resting, even Tarn's telling her, like, you should probably sleep. You've been flying for a long time. And she's like, I'll sleep when you do, really. And he's like, I can go for days without sleep. I'd rather you not fire off lightning bolts out of sleep deprivation.
but her internal of it's on the tip of my tongue to retort that it takes effort to wield lightning, but after I shattered Zayden's window last night, I'm not sure I have any expertise on the subject. Like, yeah, you don't
We're still on the
really.
window.
Yeah, yeah, we're still on the window, even though now we're mid-flight. It has been hours. They are physically exhausted, haven't slept because they were too busy, shattering windows. And she's still
Mm-hmm.
just caught up on it. But also, she is still so new to her signet that like you really have
Yeah.
no grounds for any knowledge on this whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen to what your
She's
dragon tells you and shut up.
pretty much. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And, we know that she's getting more consistent with being able to wield it on command, but she can't aim for shit. And she's
Mm-mm.
still just barely learning.
Still very, very new.
But she does note how just while they're there, everything just feels off, that she has an overall sense of wrongness about everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's sketchy. That's suspicious.
The whole everything just feels different. And
Hmm.
then beyond the wards, things are different. Hmm. Okay. Okay.
And you could definitely try and write it off as to like, oh, it's just because we're outside of the wards. But when she just continues to note it feels wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, well, but like, why?
Tell me more. Tell me more. Like, does he have a
And then
car?
does he have a dragon?
Oh yeah. Now we have sweet baby
I love
Liam.
that.
Sweet baby Liam.
Sweet angel baby Liam.
Sweet angel baby. He's
He's checking in on Violet and just being such a good friend. And Violet even asks him, like, I guess Liam. He's like, oh, like, are you doing all right with whatever's going on between you and Zayden? And Violet's like, well, what if I tell you I'm not sure? And he's like, I'm going to tell you you're in over your head. And that's that. I mean, that's saying
mm-hmm.
something because he owes everything to Zayden, and he's just
He
being so raw and truthful with her about that.
owes everything, but also knows everything.
Yeah.
And for him to say, you are in over your head, there's a lot that you don't know still.
Mm-hmm.
He's acknowledging it without fully giving her the truth because it's not his place. But
Right.
it puts him in a sticky situation. And it is
Yeah,
interesting to
I do
think
feel
like
really bad for
later,
him.
but even to think later, like when she's having the realization of how everything plays out and how she's just mostly pissed at Zayden, rightfully so. Like that's the person that she's intimate with and whatever. But these are all
Yeah.
your friends too. And Liam has acknowledged time and time again that you guys are friends.
Yeah.
Time and time again. And it's like,
Over and over.
I mean, don't ever be mad at Liam because sweet baby Liam. But it's
Yeah.
interesting how quickly she is to place blame solely on Zayden.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
We even have a little moment when they're talking, and you know, Violet just says, I've never once forgotten how amazing you are, Liam. And I'm just like, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
stop.
well,
Okay, stop.
thanks. We know
Mm-hmm.
he's amazing. Thank you. Do I need another reminder as to why we love him?
In the midst of
I can.
everything, Zayden just being dirty again.
Ugh, I swear, these two.
They're little
Just, just
horn
like,
dogs.
oh, wow. Seriously, like, oh, you know what? Let's go behind this boulder and let me just massage you and cage you in. Like, sure, but we also have a shit ton of other people over here, all of our dragons, and we're outside. Like, There's
The
no
wilderness
privacy.
adds to the experience.
Hey,
Or
you know
something.
what? That is something for people, okay? But this is a whole different vibe. This is a we're being sent to War Games Dragon book.
Yeah. Yep.
he's just he's just doing his thing and just making all these comments and we're like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Okay,
But
sure.
one of his very notable quotes before shit starts going downhill is he says, "I'm going to keep you. You're mine, Violet." And I'm like, "Okay. Please keep me
Mm-hmm.
too."
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Their
please.
whole interaction here is why we swoon over books. He groans,
Mhm.
one hand sliding to my ass. Tell me what you're thinking. And she tells him that, he's exactly the way she predicted. And he said, "What's that?" And she says, "A very dangerous addiction." Ugh.
It's fine. We're fine.
We're fine. Yeah. He's a dangerous addiction and she is violence. And yep. In a
And
nutshell.
we're getting all hot and bothered and mushy gushy in the wilderness
Mhm.
for all of a sudden just to shit. Violet, I'm so sorry. And we have just a shitstorm.
The interaction between the Griffin Rider and Zayden is just comical in this way. Like she's like catching them doing
Hmm.
something semi promiscuous. Like obviously they're fully clothed or whatever, but she's giving him shit
Right.
nonetheless. And he's just like, "Oh my god, now I've been caught red handed." And Violet, I'm so sorry because this is going to be a bigger deal than just being caught making out in the woods. Like
Yep.
this is about to be an issue. And so he
Yeah.
hides her with the shadows and then drops them to reveal griffins and griffin riders all around them, which then just immediately sparks Violet into a frenzy of Tarn, like, come here now, like
Yeah.
the intensity went from 0 to 10 in 0.2 seconds, and still Zayden, like,
Hmm.
hasn't explained the situation, doesn't say what's going on, is just like, takes her and is like, "You just stay. Let me handle this,"
And how
which is
he
so extremely
literally, she's
frustrating.
like, yeah, and she's getting her power ready because she's like, "Oh my god, there's griffins right in front of me and they're flyers and I need to be prepared to fight. Like this is a firsthand experience. Holy shit." She's getting her power
Yep.
ready. He's just like, "Nah, bitch." And just like pins her
Chill.
to him and then passes her off to Liam. Like, use your words, be a big boy and communicate before just making her so fucking confused.
Well, literally feels like a parent, like two parents being like, "Your turn," and giving the baby away.
Yeah, literally.
Like that's how they're treating her. "Here you go, your turn," because she can't
Yeah.
be controlled right now. She's trying to thrash around and cause a scene and fight these Griffin Riders, rightfully so. And he's just like, "No, no, no big deal." And she's like, "What the fuck do you mean, no big deal? This is what all of college has been about so far. This moment."
Yeah. My whole life has been you hear about the griffins and their flyers
Hmm.
and we have dragons to beat them.
Big, scary,
Like,
tarn faced dragons.
yeah. Arr. He Zayden like cups the nape of her neck and she's like, "What the actual fuck is he doing? Kissing me before we die?" He's like, "If you've ever trusted me, Violet, I need you to do it now." And you're like, "Wait, huh? What the
Mm-hmm.
fuck, Zayden?"
Mm-hmm.
And
That
then yeah,
part.
passing her
Oh.
off to Liam. Like, what? Liam's like, "I'm sorry, but I owe my life to him and everything
I know you're gonna
else,
be
so I need to do
mad,
this for
but
him.
she's just so mad and confused and
Hmm.
literally pissed, just quite frankly pissed because what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then to end the chapter, because Rebecca only does this at the end of a chapter, she just leaves you dangling. Like you have to
Hmm.
read more. And the last thing that is said between the Griffin Riders to Xaden, or Xaden to the Griffin Riders, "You're fucking early," he says, and my heart stops.
Just
Okay, great.
and now we're just like left in shock. You're like, you're early? What the fuck do you mean you're early?
What do you mean? You know these people? Your friends? You've been chilling? Is this your side chick?
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Cat.
The whole time it was never about the venom. It was only about this Griffin Rider.
It was about Cat.
Yep.
I just, oh my gosh, yeah, like utter shock that Violet must feel, and everything is just like, oh my god, you're bad. Everyone said you were bad, but you're actually bad. Like, how awful. This is the man
Yeah.
that you just told you love. And then he's like, JK Rafflecopter, I am working with the Griffins.
JK. JK.
And that's literally how she ends chapter 34.
Mm-hmm. And chapter
For fuck's sake,
35 is.
just do our summary, because I'm
You
stressed.
have words. You have words. Chapter 35.
We fighting Xaden.
Xaden turns to the Griffin Riders to hear what they have to say, but as the events unfold, Violet becomes increasingly more angry. The Riders inform Xaden that there is trouble near, and not just any trouble, but venom. How can this be true when they are things of fables? As Violet listens and tries to piece together the information, the Riders mount their griffins and take off to warn the others. Xaden turns to Violet, who is seething, and tries to explain. Unfortunately, the damage is done, and Violet is beyond pissed. Betrayal, treason, and venom? None of this can be true. How could Dane have been right about Xaden? But as the group makes their way to Athman, the pieces fall into place. At the post, the air is different. Everything is different. Nobody is around, and the entire place feels eerie. Inside, a note is found addressed to Wing Leader Xaden Ryerson. A note from Colonel Ados. Your mission is to survive if you can. Dun dun dun. That
That's
actually
not
feels
even a
like
Minions dun dun dun.
that I was gonna say that feels like a heavy dun dun dun. No minions. We're not
Yeah.
having fun anymore.
No, I am not having fun. I am stressy, depressy, lemon zesty.
Even though we just read it again, like I know what's coming.
I
In this
know.
exact moment, it is fresh in my brain. I know what is coming. I finished it
I'm still
again,
stressed.
fully 2 reads in. The first time at this point in the book, like there was no stopping. There was never putting it down to
No. Oh my
finish
gosh, no.
later.
You put
Like
it
this
down when
is
you get the last page.
100%. This was never a okay. That's good for now. Like nope.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing my book, trying to flip the pages as fast as I can to figure out what the hell is about to happen.
Seriously.
And as much as I want to be like, I'm such a smart reader, the main characters, nothing ever bad happens. That's never how I feel while I'm reading. Like
Well,
logically,
and
logic
not
just
every
goes out
book
my
is
brain.
predictable.
True.
These are stressful books, okay?
They're super stressful.
It's fine.
And
But
just how
the
things
excerpt
play out.
for
Ugh. Yes.
just,
Note it.
like
Note it.
my heart races. And the excerpt of chapter 35, it says, in his last days of interrogation, Fen Ryerson lost touch with reality. Rallying against the kingdom of Navarre, he accused King Tari and all who came before him of conspiracy so vast, so unspeakable, that it does not bear repeating by this historian. The execution was swift and merciful for a madman who cost untold lives. Navarre, an unedited history by Colonel Lewis Markham, which for those who don't know the truth, for the people who fully believe the lies they're told, and who knows how far in command it goes, like who knows what, but they're like, wow, this dude's fucking crazy. Like that's just stories, you know? That would literally be like that'd be like the president going up and being like, there are dragons and aliens about to invade, and we'd all be like,
Right.
this bitch is crazy.
You know what to check about.
But then like but then there'd be like the VP and they'd be like, low key, he's right.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, like, what does Markham know? And that you're not even going to repeat it. Like, you think he's just so out of touch with reality that he's spewing this bullshit. And you're like,
Well,
yikes.
and
I
to
don't know how
yeah,
I feel about that.
to not say in the history what it was is
Yeah,
what's because not telling the full truth is still lying by omission
100%.
and omitting information that is pertinent to not only Navarre but everyone outside the wards too. Like, yeah, this is important information that needs to be shared.
Yeah.
Whether you choose to believe it or not, it should still be relayed to others. And then, almost while you were reading that, and then like just now thinking about it, because we go back and forth on the scribes and the archives and the information, the wealth of
Mm-hmm.
information that's in the archives. But think about, the normal civilians that live outside of Navarre, as
Yeah.
we're about to see, like in Ressen. What kind of resources do they have? What does their knowledge look like as far as
Mm-hmm.
what is going on around them? Do they have the same kind of resources? Do they have, I mean, obviously the archives have everything. We talked about it as being like dating back. I think in the book it says, she says 400, but their history goes back 600,
400
right?
years. Yep.
But the history goes back 600, which is interesting.
They're
So,
missing 200 years of information.
right, which three more books, three more books, three more books, three more books,
Yep.
three more books. But to think the people outside of Navarre and Basgiath don't have any of that available to them. So even if it,
Mm-hmm.
like the fables, okay, so the fables is that in there? Do the people maybe have books like that are similar, just folklore, fables, stories? Do they spread information the same way as far as like a newspaper
Yeah.
or something? I don't know. While you were reading that thought just popped into my head of how little do these outside people know, your
Or how
day-to-day
much? Because the people
civilians.
of Eurasia, their
True.
whole,
True.
their whole village, their whole town was
Is
gone.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, so what did you know?
Well, and
Because I mean, that's where the rebellion was based.
mhm. Well, and these Griffin riders, where are they traveling to? And as far as the posts that
Yeah.
are being attacked, not attacked, whatever, where are these Griffin riders going to obviously spread the news of the venom and where they might be
Mm-hmm.
or whatever? Obviously, good guys, bad guys, they're fighting the good fight too. So where are they going and sharing this information? And then, because it is, well, even like going to Fen Ryerson of, well, in this person's eyes, he's a bad guy, but over here, he was a hero and he was trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So, as far as like Griffin Riders and everything, good guy, as far as they're
Yeah.
concerned, right? So, if they're going around though and saying Fen Ryerson, good guy, good guy, good guy, and this is what he was fighting against, why is it that more people like in Resson or places like that don't have some kind of securities or defenses against the venom or the wyvern?
And maybe they
My
do,
mind is
and we just don't
reeling right
know,
now
or it's so
because
yeah,
it's a
and
damn
like
book.
maybe it's truth. But also it makes me wonder, you're right, if the Griffins are telling them the truth and they
Yeah.
understand that Ryerson was trying to protect. So then what did they think of their government and
Mm-hmm.
all of them at Basgiath? What do they think of all of Navarre then? Like,
Mm-hmm. Well,
where do
and
you sit on these outskirt towns and your
yes,
beliefs?
right. Because the posts are all
This
based,
is good.
your posts are all on the edges of Navarre. But past
Yeah.
that, yeah, what did, and then too, though, talking about communication, as far as like
Yeah.
communication with those outside towns, because that the infantry and people that are stationed at the posts at some point go out to those towns. Like if they're a day's travel away, have to go
Yeah.
outside the posts. So if that word is spreading, where does that leave those people that are spreading that news?
Right.
Then it goes all the way back to the government and leadership of, are we eliminating those people like we're trying to do now, or is it stuff that they're just dismissed and they're like, you're making that up?
Yeah. We have
this
a
got
lot to learn, and man,
this got so deep really fast.
I know, and I love that for us. I feel like that was such like that was just a great conversation right there. And that's only from the excerpt, not even from the like main
Like
story.
we didn't even start chapter 35 yet.
We have not, no. But that was so good though.
My brain was just
Look at
reeling
us.
for a second. Like I could not. Sorry, I had to get it out. I don't know. Man, God, I want Iron Flame. We're gonna have a heyday with Iron Flame. It's gonna be so
I know. We're gonna have so many good conversations with that book.
good.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
But
Okay. Anyways.
Violet is fully realizing that like it's hitting her that realization that Xaden is working with the Griffin Flyers and they're talking about shipments and she's just like, wait, what the fuck? That's why he's sneaking off.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like reeling in her head while Xaden's trying to have this conversation like, well, shipment's not an issue, but you were waiting nearby to chat on the off chance we'd fly a full day early. And he's just kind of going back and forth with the Griffin Flyers. But come to find out, they've shown up early to warn them that the Venom are on the move and that
Mm-hmm.
there's an attack coming. And this flyer says, we lost a village in the vicinity to a horde of Venom 2 days ago. They decimated everything.
I think it's
So we
interesting
have,
and to be
go ahead.
noted this whole little section because she's warning them, obviously, and well, they are. And just the startle of the Venom actually being mentioned because
Mm-hmm.
she's like, say what? Come again? Like,
Like,
this
did
is the
you,
first
what?
Violet has ever heard them being talked about as real things and not just in the
Yeah.
books. So she, it's repeated again. Ven had never come this far west. Imogen
Mm-hmm.
chimes in. So now Imogen's saying it, and she's like, "What the fuck is happening around me? Like, how do you all know about this?" And now I'm just finding out about it. So okay, yep, that's what they both just said. But then the woman replies, "Until now, they were unmistakably Venom, and they had one of their." And Xaden, and when I just was glancing back over this, I think this is interesting because he says, "Don't say anything else. You know that none of us can know the details, or we put everything at risk. All it takes is one
Mm-hmm.
italicized of us being interrogated." And I can't help but think that that's not a hint at Violet
Yeah.
being the weak link. Poor Vi. Because
So
he
that's a shitty
just
thing to
knows.
do.
It is, but also to put her in that position to where she would have to be interrogated, I think he's just trying to protect her in the long run of the least
100%.
she knows, the better. But because she is a weak point and it would
Mm-hmm.
take a lot less to break her than probably Imogen would?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when she still doesn't fully know the truth yet. She's just hearing these words thrown out. And we have
Right.
these two different struggles We have Violet's internal struggle. Like, they just dropped the V word. Are we really talking venom right now? Like, what the fuck are they saying? And outside,
They
what's
who must
actually
not be
going on
named.
is.
When you said the V word, I was like, Voldemort? He who
Voldy
must
Voldy?
not be named. Yep.
Oh my gosh. It makes me wonder, like, she's having this internal battle, but then there's this external battle going on around her. Like, this is actually happening. Thank you for giving us the shipments. You've been
Mm-hmm.
helping us save lives. You've saved our lives. And Violet's just like, hold the phone. It's that,
Wait,
it's
back
that
up.
meme. It's literally that meme where
Yes.
it's like, oh, I only get 8 hours of sleep. Oh, I only get 4 hours. Like, you guys are getting sleep?
Yes. Wait, you guys are getting
Violet's
paid?
like, yeah, that whole thing. And it's like, Violet's
Yeah.
like, the Venom are attacking. Oh my gosh, this is what's going on. The Venom are real?
Like, she's so far behind what is truly happening in this moment. And I feel bad for her
Yeah.
because this is really when shit hits the fan and she loses all trust that she has built up with Zayden. Because
Yeah.
up until this point, they've been honest and open, so she thought. And now that just all went out the window because these are big, big secrets to be keeping, but rightfully so. And as we continue through the
Yeah.
chapter and find out more of his reasoning, it makes more sense. But in this moment, you can't help but feel for Violet a little bit. Like, ugh,
You
we
do.
missed you.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting that the Flyers know who she is immediately just based off of
Oh,
her hair.
yes. Yes.
So they even
Sorengale.
say, if you think you'll ever convince a Sorengale to risk their neck for anyone outside their own borders, then you're a fool.
Yep.
Like, okay, thanks for just assuming that you know me.
Mm-hmm.
Rude. Rude
Also,
AF.
just the notes of the Griffins, making these backhanded comments. I wonder what your king would be willing to pay in order to get back the daughter of his most illustrious general. I'm willing to bet your ransom would be worth enough weaponry to defend all of Drathus for a decade. Which I
Such a
find
bullshit comment.
it's such a funny comment, though, because if you really think about it and really think about King Tari and General Sorengale, no, they probably wouldn't.
Nope.
They really wouldn't. And just knowing
But
where they're
Violet
at and
wants to
where they're heading,
believe.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that she's like wounded.
Right.
Mm,
But it's funny because, Taran's like, oh, hell no. I'm going to snarl at you. I'm going to cook
yeah.
your little griffins into my lunch right now. And even Bodhi's like, fuck. And he moves closer to her, like, ready to protect. And, they barely know each other.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I just, Zayden even defends her. You take a step toward that Sorengale and you'll be dead before you can even shift your weight. She's not up for discussion, which, like, I love, but
Delicious.
you also just kept a humongous secret from her, and this is how you let her find out. Like, you knew
Yep.
something was wrong flying to Athben, and you brought her with you. You fucking knew something was going on.
Right.
Knowing that was your post being sent. And it's just like,
In
but
his
now you're upset that this
defense,
is how she finds out.
in his defense, if you knew something horribly bad was about to happen, knowing how strong of a writer he is and a leader, to bring a lethal weapon such as violence
Mm-hmm.
is a wise decision. Like, he made a good call.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Was it great to not maybe tell these things like in flight? Probably not. But how do you bring it
And
up
that's what I
that,
mean.
hey,
It's
that
like,
thing, that cute little book you were reading that your dad gave you, that he used to read to
yeah,
you, like, that's not fake. It's all real. How do you bring that up and then make her believe it?
right. Without her seeing it for
Because
herself.
still, she's still like you're fucking full of shit.
Right.
They're venom. No, those aren't
And
real. Like, how could this be real? Mm-hmm.
I just want to know how much Xaden not knew, but what he was speculating, because they got their orders for war games and they were told to go to Athben, and we know now that that's where they were secretly trading and supplying these runed daggers that could kill venom to the Griffin Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you have to know he realizes, like, when he gets that missive that he's like, oh, something's wrong. But like, I wonder how far he thought it was going to be wrong.
Right, to the point
Makes me
of,
wonder.
yeah, did upper leadership already know that the venom were in the area, or is it just, I mean,
We know what you're doing here and we want to send you here to make you
yeah.
uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's
Was it
interesting.
just a power move of, yeah, we're calling you out because we found out your bullshit, or we know
Yeah.
the venom are in the area and now you have to go deal with it. Go die.
Right. And it's hard because Violet is just feeling betrayed on all aspects, not just by Xaden, but by Liam, by Imogen, by her friends, but by her dragons. That is
Which is
awful. She
heartbreaking.
literally says,
It's
you
so
and
heartbreaking.
Andarna lied to me too. You knew
Mm-hmm.
what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. And Andarna, sweet, sweet Andarna, we both chose you. Like,
Yeah, we
you're
get
not
it.
really
Thanks.
helping. It's not really helping in this particular moment. But
You're trying to
his,
say dragons are bound by
mm-hmm.
bonds. There is only one other bond more sacred than that of a dragon, and it's Ryder. And we realize that's because he's made it to Sigale, so he can't break that bond with her by telling Violet, which is
Yep,
terrible because I'm sure he wanted to.
yep,
And
mm-hmm.
he doesn't like this whole situation. He's protective of her.
100%. He was kind of the middle, just really stuck in the middle and didn't have a good,
Yeah.
there's nothing he could have done to win the situation. Because, yeah, you can't break the bond of your mate. And
Hmm.
now you have a fantastic writer who just basically got shit on by everyone around her. And he's like, oh, okay, sorry. But these are rules, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's hurt by Liam. She's hurt by Xaden. She's hurt by Tarnan and Darna. She's even telling Liam, like, were we ever really friends? And Liam says, we are friends, Violet, but I owe him everything. We all do. And once you give him a chance to explain, like, oh, Liam's just trying to buffer, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes me so sad.
She's like physically angry now, too. Like, not just internally
Mm-hmm.
upset. She's now shoving him. She's like, can't contain it inside anymore. She's trying to get out as much as she
She's
can. And
yelling.
she's yelling. She's sadly taking it out on sweet baby Liam. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole thing, the whole lie, as big of a deal as it is to what he was keeping, it shouldn't have been a secret. He should have told it from the get-go,
Yeah.
but that would make for a boring book.
We have to have some form of betrayal.
Obviously.
Her literally yelling, you stood by and watched me fall for him. She just admitted that in front of everybody. They're like, oh
Hmm.
shit.
Which is literally what Bodhi says.
Yeah. Like, oh shit. He's just like, nope, we're fucked. This is over.
And Zayden still just violence. Let me explain. No, no, the time has passed. The time has passed. She's
Like, you've
so
had
pissed.
your moment.
And she's so pissed that she does. She thinks that this isn't just him helping people survive from the venom. It's him helping the Griffin riders who are attacking Navarre. And it's far
Right.
bigger than that. And so she's totally mistaken on where his allies lie, to where she thinks he's completely betrayed everything that they should stand for. And he says, "You're
Yeah.
thinking I've betrayed our kingdom. Logical guess, good for you." Goes on, and she says, "Gods, you're such a cliche, Zayden. You're a villain hiding in plain fucking sight." And I actually just
Sorry,
love it
Violet.
because
That
I'm
was
like,
cliche of you to say.
yeah, I'm like, it's actually kind of funny though, because, he is the villain, the good
Am
kind, the
I the
morally gray man.
drama?
You are the drama. Thank you. But the whole time, too, she's like pissed and she's like, "Griffin Riders." And he's like, "They're actually flyers." She's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" "Well, they're
Like, let's
flyers.
just make it worse.
Dragons have
Yeah.
riders." Yes, like, you're adding fuel to the fire at this point. Shut your face.
Yeah. I just, I can't. And I feel so bad for her because this is her entire life turned upside down. He's always known the truth.
Mhm.
She's learning the truth at 20 years old. While Violet is having this internal struggle about Venom even being real, and she's going back to that letter that her dad wrote, where he wrote, "Folklore is passed from one generation to the next to teach us about our past." And she's just reeling. And Zane's like, "Oh, BT dubs, here's a rune dagger that can kill only Venom. That's the only way that they
And
can be
she's
killed." But,
like,
Violet's still just like, "What the fuck?"
well, and she says, "Did you steal it from my mom's office?" Like, "No, bitch, I got another one. But the fact that your mom has one should tell you they're real." Violet,
I
Violet, Violet, Violet.
I know, literally. Well,
Come on,
and,
girl. You were so
she's
smart.
they're going back and forth, her and Zayden, and she jumps to Tarn. She's like, "Care to add to the discussion?" He says, "Not yet. I'd prefer you to come to your own conclusion. I chose you for your intelligence and courage, Silver One. Don't let me down." I'm like, "Girl, think logically. I know your whole world has been turned upside down here, but
Think,
like,
think.
let's think a little on
Mm,
this."
yep. Please, honey, you got it. And I love Tarn for that. He's like, "No, no. This is not between you and I. This is between you and yourself and you alone. You got it."
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, just another like face palm type of moment because Violet's like, which means I would have to believe that we have no clue that Promio is being relentlessly, viciously attacked by dark wielders just beyond our borders. And Zane's like, "No, baby. No, 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 no. We're choosing to do nothing about it." Read between
Hmm.
the lines here, Violet. It's pretty obvious for you.
Yep.
I'm like, "Come on, girl. You were supposed to be a scribe."
It hurts. It hurts, though, because she's now acknowledging that the people they look to and trust in their government and power are literally turning a blind eye to innocent people, hundreds
Yep.
just being slaughtered. And she's like, "No, that doesn't make sense." And Zayden's like, "Do you see why my dad was
Mm-hmm.
upset? Do you get it now?" And it just
Oh, my
hurts a
heart breaks,
little.
honestly, for
It,
him.
yeah. Like and
Yeah.
then to take it on himself fully as,
Yeah.
the chosen one that has stood up for all of the marked ones, children's, or like all the marked ones, the children of the rebellion, and then
Yeah.
just take all that responsibility that his dad was already carrying as a burden of trying to help these people. And the one person who should get it, who should see right through everything, because she's incredibly smart, isn't fucking getting it in this moment. And
Yeah.
he's like, "God,
Get
woman,
it through your thick fucking skull.
woman." Just the whole thing, like, ugh, so
That's when she just
heartbreaking to
retorts with,
sit here.
"Man?"
Oh, hurts my
I
heart.
can't. You know, she's like, "You've been lying. You're lying to me." And he's like, "No, I never lied to you. I just didn't tell you the full truth. Because it hurts to think that we're the kind of kingdom that would do this. It hurts to rearrange everything you think you know. Lies are comforting. Truth is painful."
Truth is
You're like,
painful.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
But they
The
all deserve
truth
to know. And
rarely, her dad used to say, the truth rarely needs effort.
yeah.
Duh, duh, duh. It's just so right in your face that you can't help but think, no, that's not true, because it seems too
Yeah.
obvious, seems too easy for that to
Yeah.
be the solution, that really we just have a corrupt government and world and we've been lied to all this time. But no, Violet, it really
Yeah.
is. It doesn't need any effort.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
And then we get the bomb drop.
The
Zayden
bomb
is
drop.
like, you know, if your best friend sees this memory, everything is lost. Like, oh, you don't know that. Dane wouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I have to believe he would not put the Codex above people suffering beyond our borders. And just goes into this whole spiel about how she could have shielded him out. She could have not told him, like, really?
She would know. She would
Just,
know.
yeah, she would know. And that's like, I guess I say that's the bomb drop. It's really not even the bomb drop. That's like, that's the missile strike before the nuke type of thing. Like, it hits you, but
Yep.
it's not that hard until we learn the full truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel so bad. Like, Zayden's trying to make it clear to her, and he's like, this is bigger than just what you and I have. Like, you and I are not the only people in the world, Violet. Violence, sorry. But he literally says, I watched my own father executed trying to help these people. I couldn't risk you too. It's so sad.
It is.
She's just so frustrating at this point in time. She's like, I loved you. I felt for
I
you. And
loved.
you're like, okay, we're being melodramatic. You thought Colonel Ados was being melodramatic with his scenario. You're being melodramatic with your past tense. It's been
I
a whole
like
5
how
seconds of information.
there's a point in here, and I think it's in this chapter where she calls him by Ryerson and not Zayden. And I find it interesting that it's later. No, it is right here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somewhere right here. Anyway, and I find it interesting because it's like a dagger to his heart. Like, ugh, she calls me
She
Ryerson and
doesn't.
not
Yeah.
Zayden. And this whole time, he just, even when he's saying things, he says everything between us is real, he still calls her violence, because
Yep.
that's how he's always called her. So he's not going to change that, because that is how he sees her, in an
Yeah.
endearing and powerful way. And now she's retracting and putting that space between them of just a simple name change. And it's lip quivers. Stop.
I just,
Stop.
it's so sad. And, he gives her the rune dagger because he wants her to be protected. And, she's like, oh, you're just giving me a weapon after telling you that you've been deceiving me for months. He's like, oh, right. She could just me right now.
Just letting you know that I still trust you. Here's the dagger.
But she's angry. She's betrayed. And Tarn says, we made a choice to protect you. Without your consent, it was an error and one that I won't make again. So he feels so bad.
Oh, so guilty as ever. Eaten up. He didn't want to be in the middle of it in the first place, but because of his bonds, he needed to be. And now he's just
Yep.
like, you're right. Like, I shouldn't have done that, and it won't happen again. Slap on the
Yeah.
wrist. But we're here now, and we need to work together to figure this shit out.
Yeah, we just have to keep moving forward. And it's all starting to click for Violet. She's like, my dad gave me a copy of this book, but our archives didn't have it. And she's like, oh my gosh, duh. it's a forbidden book
Mm-hmm.
and that he spelled it out for me. It only takes one desperate generation to change history, even erase it. You know, they go through that timeline,
Mm-hmm.
like it happens, they rewrite it. Like one generation it happens, they rewrite it they teach it the next one believes the lie, and so on is how it's told. And it makes you wonder about like our real world, like
Oh God.
how have things actually been twisted through history? Because
You
it's
never
very interesting.
know. You never
Well, you know, Rebecca did a really
know.
good job portraying corrupt government, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting with her husband being in the military. But
Oh, we're going down that road.
that's as much as I was saying with that.
Yeah.
But also the oh, it's also very similar to like I don't know if this is still relevant in Germany or not, if they ended up doing it or not, but there was a period where they were trying to take the Holocaust out of their textbooks because they didn't
Yes.
want to teach that history anymore. And people in Germany
Mm-hmm.
would never know about the Holocaust eventually. Like, this
Right.
is the same thing.
100%. Yeah,
It's
because it
interesting
was
how she's
too
taken such real world events.
dark to learn about, and people, yeah,
We're
didn't want
upset.
to acknowledge it. And it's like, you have to talk about these things.
It
Have to
happened.
talk about these.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or it'll just happen again.
Yep.
That's interesting that she really takes from real world scenarios though and puts the corruption in the book. She's I mean genius for it. I love it so much.
And it's so beautifully written too, in a way that
It is.
you do, obviously from the get-go, like General Sorrengail does not paint herself in the right light as we go through Iron Flame. Things change, but
Yeah.
you, even I guess even in real world, you kind of look to the government as these people that should know and do know what's good for the greater good, right? You're talking,
Yeah.
and it
I know.
to go and write about it in a way that leads you to ask questions is the right way to write about it, though. You know,
100%.
if you're just putting things out there and saying this, that, or the other, one way or the other is maybe too in your face, but writing about it and promoting questions, provoking those questions to come up is the right way to do it. And Rebecca did it beautifully in this book.
She did 100%. Makes it real without making it real.
Mm-hmm. Still very much just applies to the book, which is great.
Yeah. You know, as they fly off, they reach their outpost to realize that it's abandoned.
Mm,
Everyone's gone. All the supplies are gone, and this is just wrong. Wrong all over.
it creeps me out. What the hell?
Well, even Zayden just getting there when they realize it's empty and they're like starting to question everything, he says, "I don't think this is a war game," and they're realizing
Mm-hmm.
like the severity of the situation slightly. They don't even fully get it yet.
No, it's still just coming together. But to go through and see, they notice, they say this is one of the most strategic garrisons we man, and there's not a single soul in there. Yeah, something is definitely not right. Something is not adding up.
Yeah.
So they split
The
off,
only
are
sounds in the
trying to figure
fortress that
out.
should be housed more than 200 people are footsteps in the rocky ground. Everything feels off.
Mhm. And for some reason, I picture like this is like a common thing in Nebraska. There's like forts. So there's one
Yeah.
kind of near here. And I remember going like way young, like elementary school,
Yeah.
for a
Elementary
field
school.
trip.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally what
Same.
I picture in my mind is like this wooden.
Yes, you see like the big, yeah, uh-huh.
Yes. And it has like almost like
Yep.
the gates way on the outside. And then inside there's or even within the gates, there's the posts on the walls in the
Yep. You
corners
have all
of
those
like,
posts and you can walk along the
yes,
top, but then everything
yes.
inside is like tucked away after the middle section.
It's so weird. So weird. So that's what I was
Yep, no,
picturing this
that's what
entire
I
time.
think too.
And so then they're like running around, trying to figure out if there's anyone in there. And they're just going about. But instead, they find a note. Well, even
Hmm.
before that, even before we get to the note, Xaden and Violet have a really interesting conversation.
I just I just can't. There's so much going on here, and you
Mhm.
know, Liam is using his farsight to look down over the town to see maybe kind of what's going on. And Xaden looks at her and says, "What did Dane say to you before we left?" He leaned in and whispered something. And she tells him, like, he said, "I'll miss you, Violet." And he suggested that I was going to get you killed. And Violet's like, "But what the fuck does that have to do with anything? It's
Mhm.
Dane. Dane's not here." At this rate,
Mhm.
or at this point, Garrick finds a note. And Xaden gets a
Mhm.
little accusing there for a split second. Like, did you
Just
tell
like,
him?
I
Are you
mean,
for real?
rightfully
Like, she's
so.
kept your
Like,
secrets this long. I understand you being
yeah,
worried, but still, Xaden, come on.
but I
We
also
had our
wonder if
missile
it's not a
strike.
question.
Here
I
comes.
think it's almost just like the question of if Dane was doing what he suspected he was doing.
Yeah,
And I think that's where the question was sparked, not so much of like not trusting Violet to keep his secrets,
yeah.
you know?
Well, we had our missile strike. Here's our nuclear bomb of information.
Yep.
Did Ados touch you after I told you about Athbin? His power requires touching someone's face. Did he touch you like this?
That's how
I
he always touches me. What?
I would
What?
have known if he read my memories.
No, you wouldn't.
Like, but at least Zayden has stopped with the you know accusing tone, and he's just like, "You didn't know. We're
Hmm.
fucked, but you didn't
Hmm.
know."
In fact, that she like briefly defends Dane of,
Yeah, like
he
what?
he would never violate me. Like, well, he did try to once, and you
Do you
called him
not
on
remember
it.
him demanding?
Hmm. So now you think any casual touch is just out of friendship.
But yeah, with every touch,
Ugh.
the realization is setting in of every touch, every cheek caress, everything from this entire book that's just supposed to be a friendship thing, just oh hey,
Mhm.
is fucking
It's
betrayal.
it's so gross.
The Yes, it is gross that he's just
So
violating her
gross.
memories like that. And Liam is looking out, and he sees something, and he's realizing this is bad. Violet's realizing that Dane has read her memories without permission. And then Xaden reads the missive and literally just says, "We've been sent here to die."
Mhm, 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 mhm. Yep, this is real bad. I'm not having fun anymore.
I'm no, I'm
I'm not
no,
having fun anymore.
I'm very stressed.
I'm very stressed. And
And this
that's
is not
chapter
okay.
35. And then chapter 36.
I know. And we have decided to split this into two parts because this is just so beefy. So this is the end of our part one, and you're gonna have to wait another week for the big, scary, juicy
Cliffhanger.
episode. Call us
It's not a
Rebecca.
good story. It's not a good story without a good cliffhanger. Yep.
I can't.
Mm,
I
mm, mm,
can't.
mm, mm, mm. I love it.
Truly,
And now I'm so
and
excited because we are
yes.
just dragging this out one more week, which means one more week of happy little drinkies and talking about Fourth Wing. Yay.
Happy little drinkies with our really stressful book.
I'm going to need one for the last 3 chapters.
I'm gonna need something
Yeah.
stronger than that.
We're just taking shots directly from the bottle, like
Oh
pull
god, by
after
the time we
pull.
get to like
The end of chapter
by the time
36.
we're just gonna be like totally trash, but like, and another thing, Rebecca.
By the way, I do have a serious
Fuck you.
bone or something, FanTEAsy, to pick with Rebecca for what she did to us. It's
Yeah,
fine.
honestly. It's literally
I'm
why I
not
had to
okay.
bring it up at the meet and greet.
Oh, yeah, you
I
did. I
I
forgot.
asked her to pay for my therapy.
Yes. What'd she say?
She was like, "Well, did you read Iron Flame?" I'm like, as if that made it any better. He doesn't come back to life. I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
and by the
I
way,
finished
about
it."
that book.
Like, Rebecca, I'm not even on this right with you right now. I am still on Fourth Wing. What did you do?
We are not recovered from Fourth Wing. And I loved Iron Flame. Like, I know some people were like, oh, it wasn't as good. No, I thought it was great. There's things.
It was good. It
But the
wasn't as good
layout,
as Fourth Wing, but it was good.
because the layout is much different. We're in a different place. Everything has changed. What we get in Iron Flame, I mean, Fourth Wing builds up too, but
Yeah.
I'm also seeing the W of where
Mm-hmm.
her writing style. And I'm like,
Yeah.
great. We came down, and then by the end of Iron Flame, or by the end of Fourth Wing, we're way up here, and things are really crazy. And now we're coming back down from Iron Flame, and things just
Yep.
like there's just so many things that are happening, and there's so many things. And really, 3 more books is too many for my stress. I already get gray hair,
But I need more.
but I need more, and I will
Because I
keep
don't know if that's
reading it.
enough.
No, I'm just going to keep reading them and tell everyone about them and create more podcast episodes because
Yay.
could
Go
never talk
us.
about it enough. Clearly, could never talk about it enough. Look at all these tabs on this beautiful book. This is absurd.
I know. I'm looking at mine. I'm like, whoo, yeah.
I think I went through. I started another sheet of tabs last night, so I think this is like 3 sheets of tabs, which is really insane.
I was counting how many I had, and I'm in like the 500 or 600s, if not more.
How many tabs you had?
Mm-hmm.
You counted them?
When I was
Wow.
taking notes originally, I was writing my note and what tab number it was, just because I wanted
Oh,
to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
track.
That is like really intense.
I know. I really want to sit down and count them, though.
We could.
Anyway,
To be determined.
that's a day when we
Thank
take
you.
shots.
Yeah, for sure. Anywho,
But thanks
as
for sticking
always,
around with us through part 1 of the last episode. We'll be back with part 2 next week.
part 2 to
Stressy,
come.
depressy, lemon zesty, crying.
I'm gonna reread chapter 36 before we record, so it's just fresh and burning in my soul.
That's a different type of form of self-torture, but all right.
I'm here for it.
Oh, well, as always, thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for being here. If you like us or you think we're funny, because we think we're funny, leave us a review, subscribe, follow us, do all the things. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you
We'll
all.
see you in the next one.
See you next time.